The machine in front of me is huge, like the propaganda in front of me is huge, because you have to understand that Kosovo is a Pandora box.
Koja je njena trenutna uloga?
Kosovo is the same. It's a territorial fight between Serbia and between Albania. Albania understood that, and they want to make the Great Albania.
Koliko Srbija pokazuje reciprociteta?
You have to protect your rhetoric. And same with General Mladic. He protected his people. He fought for his people. End of the story. You want to criticize him? Fine, but not on Serbian TV budget.
Neko novo mesto za srpsku istinu u svetu.
I think Serbia is great enough, strong enough when Serbia wants to be alone.
Šta vas je privuklo srpskoj ideji?
Serbs are really friendly, really warm, really welcoming. And my first thought was like, wow, that's the people we portrayed as savage. But it's not. And if that is being savage, come on, I want to be savage with you.
Politički analitičar iz Francuske, veliki prijatelj našeg naroda, što je već bila dovoljna kvalifikacija da mu se zabrani ulazak tamo gde je isti taj narod i najugroženiji. Sa nama je Pol Antoan. Pol, hvala što si došao.
Hvala puno.
Prvo pitanje je upravo ono što sam pomenuo u uvodu. Zašto je vama zabranjen ulazak na Kosovo i Metohiju?
Well, first I would like to thank you for welcoming me in your excellent podcast. And I would like also to apologize for not speaking in Serbian and speaking, unfortunately, in English. So sorry to you and sorry to the people who will listen to the podcast. Well, why I'm banned from entering Kosovo, the real official reason is actually that I was a danger for the international relations of Kosovo. Of course, Kosovo is a Serbian land, but on practice, Kosovo is independent. I'm sorry to tell you, but when you go to Kosovo, you don't see Serbian police. You see Kosovo police. You see Serbs being beaten up every day. And you see Albanians doing whatever they want. In practice, Kosovo is independent, and it's even, from what I see, becoming Albania. So when I came to Kosovo, I came many times to Kosovo, but the last time I was to Kosovo, it was 4 years ago, I was coming with French politicians because I started an organization. I guess we will speak about it. I started an organization with the aim of bringing politicians, journalists, famous French people who speak to French, and to bring them in Kosovo and Metohija to show them the truth. So always what I say, I don't have anything to say. I bring you in Kosovo, I bring you in monasteries, I bring you in enclave, and you will see by yourself. You will see what's happening in Kosovo. And of course, Albanians in Kosovo don't like to speak about Kosovo because they know what they do. They know what they do with drugs, they know what they do with mafia, they know what they do against Serbs, against other minorities and so on. So they don't like when foreigners, especially French, because unfortunately, France is a big support of Kosovo, like Germany, like UK, and like USA. So they don't like when we show the other side of the story. When we bring them in prison, I brought some French senators and French member of parliament, member of European Parliament. I brought them in prison. I told them, look, in that village, in that city, in that part of the city, 20,000 Serbs lived there in 1 week. Only 100 now live. Because in 1 week they had to flee, with the 2004 pogrom. When you show them, you can show that to anyone. The guy can even not really like Serbia. He will say, okay, it's unacceptable. We cannot support that because it's against basic human rights. So I brought politicians. I still do it, by the way. I cannot go to Kosovo, but I still have my organization. I still speak to politicians in France. I still organize trips in Kosovo. And I brought some of them. Also, I go speak on French TV, not only about Kosovo, of course, but sometimes when I can about Kosovo, about Serbia, about Republika Srpska. And of course, Albanians don't like that. They don't like when we say the truth about Kosovo because they know in the deepest of themselves that what I'm saying is the truth. So they are smart. They are doing, I'm sorry to tell you, but they are doing a very good job. And they know that I was a threat for them. So one day I was coming to Kosovo, they banned me. They told me that I was, and it's true, they told me that I am a threat for international relations of Kosovo.
Pomenuli ste dovođenje senatora i vaše izlaganje na televiziji francuskoj kad dobijete priliku. Koje ste sve inicijative sproveli vezano za istinu na Kosovu i Metohiji i koje ste nameravali da sprovedete?
So my main goal, as I told you, is to really bring people in France that speak to French. I don't want to speak to people which are already sure that Kosovo is Serbia, that already have a good image of Serbia and so on. That's not interesting to me. So I want to speak to the French that first speak to French and can take decisions. So we planned few trips of French politicians in Banja Luka, in Kosovo, and the plan is twice: is to speak to Serbs, to tell them, look, you have supports. You have supports with French politicians, not with no one. You have support with French politicians, and also in Kosovo to put pressure on Albanians to say, okay, look, you believe you are alone. You believe you are supported by America, by Germany, by France. Yes, for the moment. Yes, that's true. You have the support of the French government for the moment. But be careful, because some politicians from many parties, not only one party, come in Kosovo, they discuss about Kosovo, they know the truth, they start to know about Serbia, and they are not supporting you anymore. So it's changing. And that pressure, I think, made them think twice about implementing anti-Serbian policies. Unfortunately, they still do that, But I think, it makes them think twice and thinking, okay, maybe we should be careful. Maybe we have to think twice. Maybe you have to maybe put less pressure on Serbs and so on. And of course, I don't do enough. Of course, I should do more. But, I do what I can with what I have. And it's always what I say. My dream is to bring Macron. It's my president, not my favorite one, as you can imagine, but he's my president. My dream is to bring him in Kosovo. Of course, that will be excellent. Because I think we have to speak. We have to speak with people. We have to debate. We have to speak as we do right now. It's how we exchange views. We can sometimes disagree on many things, but it's good to speak. It's good to have a channel of communications. And when you bring a guy like Macron to Serbia, it's always good. His first trip was really bad, what he did. But then he came back again. He started to build a relationship with Serbian government, with Serbian politicians. And I think it's what is good, to speak between people. And it's by speaking, by seeing by your eyes. Go in Kosovo, you will see the church being destroyed. We are French, we are European, we were built by Catholicism, Orthodoxy, but we were built by Christianity. And when you will see Orthodox, like in Gračanica, like in Visoki Dečani, which needs to be guarded by soldiers, that's not something normal in Europe. And when you're a French politician, you see that anyway you cannot support. It's impossible. You cannot support that. And the problem in France, many of them are supporting Kosovo because they don't know about what's really happening in Kosovo.
Pol, pokazujete dosta inicijative da izložite tu stvar. Šta vas je privuklo srpskoj ideji?
That's a good question. I'm not sure I can answer the question for myself. First of all, I'm French. So, when you are French, you have a certain idea of the world. In France, we have a thing that Jesus Christ is French. Of course, he can only be French. Now, of course, it's a joke, but I'm French. I have blood of Napoleon in me. We are French. We, unfortunately, in past, not anymore, but we led the world. I'm not speaking about colonization and so on. I'm speaking about culturally speaking. Just an example, but I studied 1 year in Russia, long time ago. And I was speaking Russian badly, but still. And I remember one day I was completely lost. I was, walking, I was lost. And I started to ask for my way in Russian with my bad Russian, but still. And in a suburb of Moscow. And the girl looked at me and spoke to me in French. And she gave me the way in French. What I want to say is that, France before, when France was France, we were a great country. Culturally speaking, politically speaking, people were speaking our language. And it gives you something. It shows you something. So as a French, I was reading about history of my country. But when you read about history of France, you read about history of Armenia. And of course, you read about history of Serbia. Because, when you go in Gračanica, on monastery, on one of the pillars, you are written about France. Because French army in 1918 came to Gračanica when we helped Serbs to free themselves. So when you are French, you speak to many countries. You speak to Syrian Christians, Lebanese Christians, you speak to countries in Africa as well, and so on and so on. And of course to Serbia. So I cannot give you a concrete answer. What I want to tell you is that I'm French, so I read about the history of France, then of Serbia and so on. And in France, many people speak very well about Serbia. Many people know about what we did in First World War for Serbia, with Serbia. Many people know about the Serbs that died in France in 1916 and for the First World War. Many of French people know what even some Serbs did in Second World War. You know, during the Second World War, when France was occupied, de Gaulle was the official French government in exile in London. He made a special order for the brave, that's how we call it. And it was only given to 1,077 people. So it's really, really low number. And among those 1,077, you have one Serbs. So we know about them. We celebrate them. We know about Serbian heroes who did good things for France. We know about French heroes who did good things for Serbia. And I think that's what attracted me to know more about Serbia. And then also, when I was young, I'm still young, I was always attracted by, I would say, real countries, you know, countries with real people, pride of themselves. And Serbia always been that. You know, Serbia 30 years ago decided to fight for who they are. They decided to fight against the most powerful military alliance at that time, still, NATO, to fight for themselves, to fight to say, okay, look, you are more powerful than us, but we will defend ourselves because we have nothing else to lose. And you know, it's a moment of pride. And it's what I like in Serbs. It's what I like in Armenian. It's what I like in Russian. It's what I like in many other countries. I like people which are pride of themselves and who just say, okay, I'm pride. I don't want any issues with my neighbors. I don't want to make wars. I just want to defend myself. I want to defend my cultures. I want to defend my tradition. You know, I'm French, you're Serbian, I'm Catholic, you're Orthodox. So we have some things which are not the same on paper, because I think in practice we have many in common. But you are pride. You want to defend your tradition. You want to defend who you are. And I think that's very important, because we are in a battle where we have to, when I say we, of course, it's not me, you know, but the globalist wants to fight the people. They want to destroy families. They want to destroy religions, all religions, you know. They want to destroy people who are proud of who they are, strong as who they are. And the first, maybe not the first, but one of the first people who stand against that 30 years ago were the Serbs. So I from my young age, I read about history, I read about politics. I was, of course, impressed by what the Serbs did in the 90s, and I wanted to know more. So I started to read about history of Serbia, history of Yugoslavia, and I started to have an interest. And finally, I said, okay, I would like to go there. So I studied 1 year in Serbia, and I liked what I saw. Not everything, but I liked what I saw. And once again, I saw people with fighting. It's not always winning, unfortunately, but I saw people fighting. And I think for me, that's the most important. You know, you can die, you can lose, but you cannot lose without fighting. That's the most important.
I vi ste pokretali neke javne inicijative vezano za Kosovo, naravno i za istinu o tome. Koliko na Zapadu ima sluha i koji su rezultati bili?
Well, it's, you know, what you have to understand is that I have no means. I'm doing that with myself, with the little means I have, with friends helping me, with some people in France trying to support me with a bit of money and so on, but we don't do a lot. For example, I launched one initiative like a few months ago, which is a journal. The name is Balkan Actu. And the aim I have is to speak to French, to tell them, look, there are different things that are happening. You know, we have, for example, we published one article about Srebrenica, because in France, like in the West, we speak a lot about Srebrenica and say, oh, you know, the bad Serbs, they made genocide in Srebrenica, they killed 6,000, 8,000, maybe 10,000, you know, 20,000, who knows? You know, the number is growing every year. And, you know, we published, I'm not the one who writes it, I have a team with me, and one guy in my team wrote an article about Srebrenica and about the Serbian casualties in Srebrenica, because as you know, 2,000, maybe even more, Serbs were killed in Srebrenica by Nasera Oриć troops, and even Nasera Oриć was there. And we published an article because many French don't know about that. But what you have to understand is that my portal, we have no support. Like no support at all, not from Serbian government, not from Bosnian government. We have support from no one. In front of me, I have another portal, a French one portal as well, speaking only bad about Serbia. The only good things they say about Serbia is when there is gay pride and stuff like that in Serbia. But everything they say is against Serbia. They have support from NGOs, they have support from the French Ministry of Affairs, from the French embassies, from German embassies, from many things. They have a lot of support, financial support, but not only. Me, I tried to get interviews with some Serbian MPs. I got no response. So I am doing everything alone. I have a team. When I say alone, it's not me, but I'm doing everything with what I can. So unfortunately, as I told you, I'm not doing enough. I am the leader of that. So I am the one taking the blame for that, but I'm not taking enough. But it's really hard. You have a huge machine in front of you, supported by USA, by Germany, by French government. They receive millions of euros every year in their budgets, and I receive nothing. And I'm doing, what I can with some friends and blah blah blah. So it's not enough. It's not professional enough. So the latest project I have, I'm really proud of, is that journal Balkan Actu, and I'm very happy with that because my aim from the beginning, it's not to speak to Serbs completely. I'm speaking to Serbs now and I'm very happy, but you do it better than me. And you know what I mean? It's important to speak to French. It's important to speak to American people. It's important to speak to Austrian, to German and so on, to Italian. And it's what I do with French. And it takes time. It takes a lot of means, but I'm very happy with my portal because we publish interviews. We published interview of Igor Simic, the leader of the Serbian list, and it's important that we gave him voice in the French medias. As I told you, published one article about the victims of Srebrenica. We said the other victims of Srebrenica, and that's very important that people in the West, in France, know that okay, maybe Serbs did some stuff in Srebrenica, but we have to understand the full context, and we have to see that also Serbs victims are in Srebrenica, and that's very important. It's also, we published one article about the Serbian genocide in 1941 by the independent state of Croatia. No one knows about that in France. We speak a lot, which is right, which is good, about the Jewish, about the Rome, about the French people being killed in Nazi death camp, but no one never speak about Jasenovec. And we are the first one who published a long article written by Dusan Pavlovic in Republika Srpska about the genocide of the Serbs in independent state of Croatia, which unfortunately was also nowadays Serbia, and no one knows about that. And when I go sometimes on TV to speak a little about that, I say, look, we have to speak about everything. And many people, when I speak to them, tell me, oh, we didn't know. Like the most common sentence I have in front of me is, oh, I didn't know about that. I didn't know that Serbs were genocide in 1941. I didn't know that some Serbs were also victims in Srebrenica and so on and so on. I didn't know that Serbs in Kosovo are living in Enklava. I didn't know that monasteries of Gračanica, of Visoki Dečani must be protected by soldiers because Albanians from Daesh are trying to destroy them. I didn't know that, for example, Albanians were among the only one to have a brigade with Daesh in Iraq and Syria. I didn't know that. And many people in the West don't know. So that's my initiative. I think that's the key, to speak to the people. It's what I told you. We have to speak between each other because people only read books on their side. They listen to podcasts on their side. In France, I'm speaking, not in Serbia. And it's very important to break that and to say, look, we have proof. We have that. I can show you articles with many, written by scholars, serious things. And it doesn't go in what you believe. And then, you start to break the beliefs of the people. And then, then when they start to think about it, to read a bit more, to go on our website, to see more articles, to check about the guy, okay, who is Dusan Pavlović, who is Milošković, who is that, what about 1389, what about what's happening in Kosovo now, okay, then they start to ask themselves, then they read, also we made interview with Colonel Jacques Hogar. He was a French officer in Kosovo, he saved some monasteries, he was on the ground. I was not. I was barely born. He was on the ground. And that's very important that those guys can speak to French people and tell them, look, I was on the ground. I was a French officer. And I saw Albanian terrorists of Uceka killing monks, killing nuns, killing Serbian just because they were Serbian and trying to destroy Serbian heritage, to erase the Serbian heritage of Kosovo. It's important that French people start to read about it. But someone has to do that. So I am doing that. Once again, it's not enough. It's not good enough. It's not professional enough. But, once again, the machine in front of me is huge. Like the propaganda in front of me is huge, because you have to understand that Kosovo is a Pandora box. I'm not speaking about Crimea. I'm not speaking about even Bosnia. You can speak about Bosnia in France. Kosovo is a Pandora box, because once again, when I say we, it's me, but the West all supported Kosovo. It was a nice idea of having a new country. Nice, we will build a new country. We'll even build a new flag. It doesn't mean anything, but, it was like that at that time. And now they don't want to come back on Kosovo because it will mean we made a mistake. And the liberal elite in France cannot say we made a mistake. Of course, they are too arrogant for that. We didn't make a mistake. We made what was wrong. So for them, when I speak to them, it means they have to say we made a mistake, but we have to apologize. We have to apologize because we bombed Yugoslavia for making Kosovo. We stole the land of Serbs and we bombed Serbs on that. So it means we have to apologize. And there is something else. We said Serbs committed war crimes. We put them in jail for that. Ratko Mladic, General Lazarevic in Kosovo and so on. But what did we do? When we bombed Serbia with deeply uranium, what is that? If Serbs committed war crimes, what did we do? So we have to apologize for the land we stole. Once again, when I say we, it's not me. But so when I speak to them, if they agree with me, they have to apologize for the land they stole, for the bombing. And they have to say, look, we committed war crimes. So we have to put also our people in jail. So it's three big things they have to come back on. So I'm not speaking about some easy topics where they could say, oh yeah, you are right, we can deal with it. No, they have to go on the deepest of themselves and they have to put their kind of elite in jail because of what they did in Kosovo, and they have to publicly apologize about that. So I took the hardest topic in the West to speak about. And before they will fall and let Kosovo go, it will take years of work, years of talkings, propaganda on the good sense, that I have to do. It's a big job, really big.
Govorili ste sada o nekim spoljnim faktorima koji utiču na Srbiju, ali koliko Srbija, evo vama je zabranjen ulazak i mnogima je zabranjen ulazak na Kosovo, koliko Srbija pokazuje reciprociteta kada je u pitanju reagovanje na prijatelje nezavisnog Kosova i one ljudi koji zagovaraju tako nešto?
That's really interesting, because actually the day I was banned from entering, when I entered Pristina and they told me not to, that I was not allowed, on the same day, the exact same day, not 2 days before, not 2 days after, the exact same days, the wife, I forgot her name, the wife of Albin Kurti, she's Albanian from Sweden or, from a European country. She's from the diaspora. She was promoting her books. She wrote a book about how Uceka was fighting revolutionary organization that freed Albanians. And she was presenting her books in Serbia, in Belgrade. So I'm not afraid of speaking about Kosovo, about Bosnia with anyone. I'm not afraid at all to speak about it. But what I want to say is that Albanians banned me, and I think, honestly, they were right. because I was doing a great deal against them. So I think, it's not in my interest, but I think they were right because I was bringing politicians. I'm still doing it. I was speaking about Kosovo on TV, not on their rhetoric. So I think they were right. But unfortunately, Serbs don't do it. Unfortunately, Serbs don't do anything to protect their point of view of Kosovo. And I think Serbs, there are two things. On the deals in Brussels between Kosovo and Serbia, Serbs authorities should speak about all the banned people, not only the Serbs, actually, all the banned people, the French, the Americans, the Russians, all of the people, I think also British are banned, all the people who are banned for not good reason. Once again, don't get me wrong. I want France to ban some people from entering my country because they will do terrorist attack. I'm not a terrorist. I'm not doing terrorist attack. I'm just spreading the truth. You cannot be banned from one territory for that. So I think Serbs first should speak about that on the deals with Brussels. Brussels is all about liberal ideas or democracy and so on. Fine, you're about democracy, you support Kosovo, and you support Kosovo not to let a French guy like me because he's speaking truth about Kosovo. What is democracy about that? And I think Serbs authorities should use us. They should use me in their negotiation in Brussels to say, look, fine, you speak about democracy, you speak about liberal ideologies and so on to Brussels. You get millions, if not billions from Brussels for that. But then, can you explain me why do you ban one French guy doing not enough, just speaking? Explain me why. I've not noticed in Interpol. I'm not looked by French police or so on. I'm just speaking and they ban me. So first, I think Serbian authorities should speak about that to Brussels and raise a case to say, look, is that what you want to support? Is that the Kosovo you want to support? They ban French people and you really think they will protect minorities, Serbian minorities in Kosovo? Come on, of course no. That's the first thing. And then secondly, yes, Serbs, but not only about Kosovo, Serbs should globally protect their history, their rhetoric, and their point of view. And I'm telling you something very serious. I studied in Serbia. Unfortunately, I don't speak Serbian. But I studied in Serbia. I read Serbian history, and I read the history of Serbia in the Second World War, the history of Draža Mihailović, the history of the partisan of Tito, and the history of the first village in 1941, who was free, was in Yugoslavia by Serbian people on the south. I forgot the name of the village, but on the south. And the first city freed in Europe was, if I'm not wrong, Kragujevac. Unfortunately, after it was taken back, but it was the first city freed from the Nazis' occupation in Europe. I know about that history, but what I'm telling you is that I see when I read about liberals in France, in UK, because I also studied in UK, and some liberals in Serbia, not majority, but I say some. I hear about speaking about, Nedic, how about Serbia? Serbia was finally not resisting against the Nazis and so on because Nedic was there. No, Nedic was not the official representative of Serbia. The official Ministry of Defense of Serbia of war was Draža Mihailović. He was the one fighting with partisans, with Chetniks. That's ideology. I don't want to enter that. But what I want to say is that, and that happened to France, how you break history. First, you say that the country didn't fight. The country collaborated. My country didn't collaborate. I'm sorry, it's wrong. My country was with De Gaulle, and my country was in London, and we fought against Germans. Both my granddad were fighting against German. My grandmother was in a concentration camp. So I can tell you, we didn't collaborate. Some French, yes. Some French did, yes. Of course, but France didn't collaborate. And the problem is that we changed rhetorics and we accept to say that French collaborated. And now we have to apologize for everything. And we don't protect our history. And I see that coming to Serbia. And what I was talking about that, because then when you accept to say the Serbian government did that, it means the Serbian people, not some Serbs. You see the difference. Some Serbs did that. Yes, of course, because some Serbs did bad things, some French did bad things, and some German resisting against Nazis. Yes. But when you switch and you say the French government, it means the French people, the Serbian government, so it means the Serbian people, then, you will be the bad people. You will be, I see when I was, again, studying in London, and it's very important. Some teacher said, Yugoslavia was the first Judean-free region in Europe, which is true. So it's because of Serbs. I said, no, it's completely stupid. It's because of Croats and because of the Croatian independent states. The Serbs were actually victim of that. But they want to rewrite history. They want to erase the genocide of the Serbs in 1941, Jasenovac and so on. And then they want to make the victims the next bad people, to say Serbs committed war crimes in Bosnia, in Kosovo. So of course they did the same in 1941. And that is very important. So Serbs, to come back to your question, and I think it's very important, the Serbian government must protect its history in Serbia and also abroad. And they must be clear that Serbia, during the Second World War, in Kosovo, in Bosnia, the Serbian government did everything good, because you have to protect your history. When you start forgiving yourself, then it will go step by step, and then you will be the bad people. And it's what happened with Srebrenica now. Serbian, to the UN, it's not me saying that. It's not me. The UN said that Serbia is a genocide people. It's UN said that, because Serbs don't protect their history. They don't protect their point of view. So do you just imagine, like, France colonized? It's not funny, but the situation is funny. We colonized. We not always did good things, but we are not genocidal people. You are, because you are Serbs, because UN said so. It's not me. And that is very bad. You have to protect your history. You have to work a lot on that. And that's what Serbia must do. So you can ban few people. Yes, of course, you can ban some people which are completely 100% against Serbia. I think, the French philosopher Bernard-Henri Lévy is not banned from entering Serbia. Yes, he must be banned. You must ban some of them, but you must ban them from entering Serbian embassies. That will be good first, because the only time I was invited by a French politician to the Serbian embassy in Paris, I met some anti-Serbian MP. So first it will be banned from not welcoming them to Serbian official reception. That will be good first. And yes, you have to ban some really anti-Serbian people, MPs, journalists, and so on. People criticizing Serbia? No, because, you have to speak to them and so on. But the guy who is really openly, like the French philosopher, because he's not philosopher, Socrates is a philosopher. BHL, Bernard-Henri Lévy, is not a philosopher. He's a war maker, and he's getting money from that. It's not being philosopher. He's a businessman. The French businessman Bernard-Henri Lévy, yes, he should be banned from entering Serbia completely. So some people must be banned from entering Serbia. Yes. But why Kosovo did that to me? And that's the most important. The roots is more important. It's because they saw that I was tackling the Kosovo narrative. That's why they banned me, and they are right. I'm sorry to tell you, for me, it's very sensitive about it, because I really loved Kosovo. I really loved going to monasteries, going to Gračanica, going to Visoki Dečani. Some monasteries like Draganac I could not visit. And for me, I'm not going to I took risk. I received death threats from Albanians every week. So, for me, it's not a joke. I don't get anything from that. I'm just losing things. So for me, it's not jokes. I was really attached to Kosovo. I'm still really deeply attached to Kosovo. So for me, it was not easy when I was banned from entering Kosovo. But I have to tell you, they are right. What they did is clever. But why they do that? Not to just ban me. Because I was endangering, because I was going against the Kosovo rhetorics. It's what Serbia must do. They must protect their rhetorics. But for that, they must have a rhetorics. They don't have rhetorics. There is no rhetorics against to protect Serbian what you did in Second World War. And believe me, I will stop with that. But believe me, in bad things, unfortunately, France is leader. In many bad things, we have 20 years in advance. We have PhD when you are barely finishing your studies in immigration, in work, and all of that. Unfortunately, we have 20 years ahead of you. And I'm telling you, 20 years ago in France, we couldn't say that French government supported Nazi Germany. Of course, no. Now we can do that. And now we have to apologize for that. I have to apologize for that. My grandmother was in a concentration camp. My two grandfathers fought against German, and I have to apologize. Of course, no, I will never apologize about anything because I didn't do anything wrong. France didn't do anything wrong because it's how it is. You cannot let your country be guilty. It's not possible. So you must have a rhetoric and you must protect your rhetoric. And all the people going against your rhetoric, you must ban them. So you must not ban people for banning them. You must have a rhetoric, build a rhetoric, protect your rhetoric, and ban the people who are destroying your rhetoric.
Zašto onda Srbiji i Francuskoj nedostaje to samopoštovanje?
Because it's exactly what I told you. Your question is coming perfect to the right moment. It's exactly what I told you about. Do you really think you can be proud of yourself when you are a genocide people? Because, coming back to the last question, why do UN and why do US, France, Germany, and so many countries wanted to label Serbs as genocide people? They don't care about genocide and so on. The Dutch troops couldn't prevent what's happened in Srebrenica. They were there. They didn't do anything. A French general was the chief of the area. He was playing golf. So they don't care about what's happened in Bosnia. They never cared about it. But they want to label Serbs as a genocide people. And now, of course, Serbs know it's a lie. Of course it's a lie. Serbs are not a genocide people. Of course no. But just imagine in 20 years, when you will have kids, when he will be in class, and when he will be traveling to Paris, to London, because, when you're a kid, a teenager, you travel, it's good. And when he will meet people which are not bad people, but simple French guy who went to class and in history books written, Serbian, committed genocide. They will meet each other in a bar in Paris and say, oh, you're Serbs. Oh, you're a bad guy. You committed genocide. Your kid, in 20 years time, he will feel ashamed. Of course, I committed genocide. It's bad. No one is proud of that. No one. It's bad. And it's how you destroy people. Can you be, you are German now, can you be proud of what Germany, your country did a century ago? Of course no. Of course no. It's not possible. And that's what they try to do that, to put Serbs, to put French, what France did is 100% wrong. No, France did wrong things, of course, but not 100%. And it's the same in Serbia. It's what they are trying to do. They start with Bosnia, they start with Kosovo, but believe me, they will go deeper and deeper. They will go to Yugoslavia, and they will tell you everything that was good in Yugoslavia was Yugoslavian. Everything that was bad in Yugoslavia was made by Serbs. In Yugoslavia, when Tito did good things, for me, it was not often, but anyway, he's Yugoslavian, he's Croatian. But when he did bad things, it's Milosevic. Milosevic was Serbian. I believed it was Yugoslavia. It's good things, Yugoslavia, and bad things. It cannot work like that. And then in Second World War, believe me, Nedic was Serbian, he did that. And believe me, I'm not joking. In 20 years, 30 years, some history books will tell that Jasenovac was a Serbian camp. I'm telling you. You believe I'm stupid, but I'm telling you. And that's why people, you start to hate yourself when you are not proud of yourself. Do you think you can be proud of yourself when you committed genocide? Of course, no. So that question is very important. French people, now the young people, the one which are 20 years old, they don't read. They don't read books. They go on social media, stupid Instagram, stupid Twitter, and so on. And they just have TV shows telling them every day, and history books on school telling them every day, we did bad things about that. We did bad things about that. It's not good to be Christian. It's not good to be white people. It's not good to be that, and that. And then, when you don't have good parents telling you, no, it's wrong. My parents were good. My mom were telling me, no, that's completely stupid. Read that book. My dad was telling me, no, it's completely stupid. My grandparents were telling me, no, you're French, you're Catholic. It's how it works. You must be proud of who you are. You must be proud of being French. But it's luck for me. But unfortunately, I can see many of my schoolmates when I was at school was not like that. They were not like that. So unfortunately, they couldn't develop the pride of being French. And it's not the case nowadays in Serbia, and that's good. But unfortunately, it will come because many parents don't educate their kids. They let them watch TV every day. TV, not podcast like that, but TV is enemy of people. Religion was supposed to be opium of people, which is wrong, but TV is opium of people. And the problem is that those kids, they don't go to church. They don't have religious education. They don't have national education, because school system in France, not in Serbia, but school system in France is completely collapsing. And once again, what we teach them, France in Second World War 100% collaborated with Germany. So are you proud of that? Like, we tell you, you are a kid, you are 15 years old, and we tell you that 150 years ago, your country 100% collaborated with Germany. Will you be proud of that? Of course no. Can you be proud of being French after that? Of course no. It's impossible. And that's why and how they manipulate history in France and in Serbia, because they want to break us, and of course then we cannot be proud of ourselves. In Serbia, you can still say, I'm proud of being Serbia. When I go in Republika Srpska, I see Serbs saying, I'm proud of being Serbs from Republika Srpska. But it was like that in France 50 years ago. 50 years ago, France was a strong country. France was a country a century ago who fought against Germany in First World War. We lost more than millions. France was a strong country. We had strong people. We had heroes. When I look at my grandfather, when he was 16, he was fighting against Germans. 16, he was fighting against Germans. He fought all his life. He was in the army. He fought all his life. We had heroes. But we are breaking them, we are breaking their heritage step by step. And it will happen to Serbia as well. When I see a kind of propaganda about General Mladic in Serbia, it's still slow, but it's coming. It's coming, saying, he's a war criminal. He did that, he did that, he did that. They start to break your heroes. They did the same in France. My granddad did war in Algeria. He was an officer there. I'm French. Everything he said was right. He is a hero. No question. You can tell me whatever you want. I disagree. Because he was French. He fought there. He is a hero. End of the story. Ciao. Thank you. End of the story. You have to protect your rhetoric. And same with General Mladic. He protected his people. He fought for his people. End of the story. You want to criticize him? Fine. But not on Serbian TV budget. Not on Serbian sponsor school. Not on Serbia. End of the story. That's it. You can have debates. You can speak, yes, but there is a rhetoric. And the problem is that in France, some people we were celebrated as hero 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 50 years ago. Now we start to destroy them. And of course, we take some bad things they did. Napoleon was not 100% a good guy. Of course, no. But he did excellent things for France. He built France. And now we start to say, he was a bad guy. He was racist. He was blah, blah, blah. He was against gay. Come on, speaking about gays like 2 centuries ago. It's complete nonsense. And then, we start to tackle down our heroes. We started with the kings. French kings were bad and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but they built France. They built some most beautiful cathedrals, some beautiful castles. Yeah, but it was bad for the people and blah, blah, blah and blah, blah, blah. And then, Napoleon and then our heroes, De Gaulle. Now we start to fight against De Gaulle as well. No, we cannot let that happen. And of course, when you don't have heroes, when all the people will present you, when all the history will present you in schools is telling that you are the wrong guys, that everything you did is bad, of course you will hate yourself. And that unfortunately will come to Serbia. Not now, but it will come to Serbia unfortunately.
Nekoliko puta smo pomenuli nezavisno Kosovo. Da li je nezavisno Kosovo samo sebi cilj ili ipak cilj ujedinjenje sa Albanijom?
As I told you, Kosovo is a Pandora box for the West. And I spoke on the Serbian side because, I explained you how the West will have to apologize and so on. But it's also, and that's interesting with Kurti, it's also a Pandora box on the Albanian side because, the West were really honest in their intention to create a new state in Bosnia and in Kosovo. And when you look at Bosnia and Kosovo, you see the same flags, same colors, yellow, blue, that doesn't mean anything, like a sky blue. No, flag is supposed to be strong, to show respect, to show fear. When you look at the flag of Albania, is the eagle of Skanderbeg. That's flag. Same with Serbia. You see the eagle. But flag of Kosovo, flag of Bosnia doesn't mean anything, because it was in the Serbian, the Western, ideology, like dementia, to create new states. So they really want to create a new state, a new democratic state in Kosovo. But now they see the Pandora box, which is that Albanians in Kosovo are not Kosovar. They're Albanians. What is Kosovo people? Nothing. In Kosovo people, you have Serbs, you have Albanians. Kosovo is not a fight for independence. Kosovo is a territorial fight between Serbia and Albania. We had the same in France with Alsace between France and Germany. Alsace, there is no people. They have a strong identity. They have a language. Alsace could actually be more a country than Kosovo, because they have their own language and they have their strong identity. But it was a territorial fight between France and Germany. Kosovo is the same. It's a territorial fight between Serbia and between Albania. Albania understood that, and they want to make the Great Albania. Kosovo is one part of Great Albania. Albanians only think about one thing, is Great Albania. And they want to take Kosovo, they will take Preševo, they will take Medvedo, they will go in Montenegro, they will go in Macedonia, and they will go in Greece. They will go in Greece, they will take some territories in Greece. Sometimes some clashes happens at the borders with Greece and Albania. Same in Macedonia, 1/3 of the Macedonian territory is controlled by Albania already. It's done. I spoke last time I was in Sarajevo. I spoke with a former Macedonian intelligence officer, and he told me, we lost everything in 2001. After Kosovo, they made with it was Učeka for Macedonia, Učeka M, and they made a terrorist also and guerrilla warfare in Macedonia. He told me we lost everything. 1/3 of our territory is controlled by Albania. Albanian language is an official language in Macedonia. Why? Because they have the map of the Great Albania, and they will do Great Albania. Albania was built thanks to the Great Albania, to the identity. What is Albania? Albania is a beautiful country, nice people, but it's also people that were really divided in themselves, between tribes. What unifies them? Not religion, because they have Muslim, they change easily religion, they have Catholics, they have Orthodox, they have everything. So what unifies them is the Great Albania. And actually, there is one Albanian poem. You say, don't look at our minaret, don't look at our church and synagogues. The religion of Albania is Albania. Albanians must be ultra-nationalists to stay united. And that is the idea of Great Albania. Albanians are united by the idea of Great Albania. So they don't want an independent Kosovo. They want to take Kosovo. They don't want minority rights for Albanians in Macedonia. They start with that. They ask minority rights first. They ask for the language to be recognized in Macedonia, in Preševo, in Medvedev. And then, they go step by step. They take the fingers, then they take the arms, then they take the body. It's how it works. And it's how they did in Kosovo. In Kosovo in 1968, they didn't ask for independence. They were burning monasteries. They were asking just for their students to study in Albanians. You give them the right to study in Albanians. And now I'm telling you that tomorrow the Serbian students in Kosovo will not be able to study in Albanians. So the right Serbs give them in Kosovo. Now they will not give it to the Serbs because they go step by step. What they want is Great Albania, completely. So there is no Kosovo. That's complete dream, European fairy tale. There is no Kosovo. Kosovo is a territorial fight between Serbs and between Albanians.
Srpska dijaspora. Koja je njena trenutna uloga?
That's a very good question. Potential is really huge. Huge. When you look at the Jewish diaspora, it's huge. They do huge things. You agree with them or not? That's not the question. They do huge things. When you look at the Armenian diaspora in France, in USA, in London, they do huge things. They send millions to Karabakh, to Armenia. Serbian diaspora, nothing. Zero. It's even worse. With what I do in France, I spend more time fighting I spend more time defending myself by some Serbs and their ego in France fighting me than Albanians and Bosniaks for what I say about Republika Srpska and so on. That's the problem. I spend most of my energy in France dealing with Serbs on that regard than with Albanians and Bosniaks, because it's not organized, because not all of them, but some of the leaders, I'm speaking now about France, Serbian diaspora in France, because the rest I don't know. I don't speak about what I don't know. But the Serbian diaspora in France, the diaspora in its majority is good. People are really nice. I know some Serbs, they are doing good things and so on. But I'm speaking about the leaders, of the diaspora movement. They work for their ego. They just do things in front of cameras, but then they don't do anything. Most of them didn't go to Kosovo. And then they speak about Kosovo. How can you speak about Kosovo? You didn't even go to Kosovo. One day I had a meeting with some of them. And they started to speak about Kosovo. Oh, we have to protect Kosovo, blah, blah, blah. And, and one of them started to say, oh, yeah, but Paul, you don't do that. You don't do that. You don't speak Serbian and blah, blah. I say, okay, look. There is one guy here who is banned from entering Kosovo in that table. Who is he? It's me. It's not you. It's me. One day, because diaspora in France is really not organized, and the church, which I think for me is one pillar to protect the Serbian people, the church in France is excellent. The Serbian Orthodox Church in France, not the French one, unfortunately, the Serbian Orthodox Church in France is excellent. They do a perfect job. They have nothing, but they do an excellent job. And Bishop Justin, which is clever, smart, excellent guy, a saint guy, he's doing actually a good job to organize diaspora. And I remember meetings where he invited not the leader, I'm not a leader, but, people doing things for the diaspora. So first I have to really quickly, in the diaspora you have many organizations, they don't do politics, but for me they do politics. For example, you have many folklore movements. And they say, oh, we don't do politics. Yes, you do politics because keeping Serbian kids in their heritage, in their language, in their religion is already doing politics. They do an excellent job. Like the Serbian folklore groups in France, they do a lovely job. The Serbian school in France, what they do is excellent. So all of them, it's excellent. But on paper, they say we don't do politics, and they believe they don't do it. So all of them is good. But the people saying we do politics are completely bad. And that meeting with Bishop Justin, he said, okay, look, I am invited to go to Senate by one guy in that room, the only guy who is not Serbian. So the point is not to speak about me. I'm not important. That's nothing. I told you I'm not doing enough and so on. So I'm not here to speak about me. And he said, is that normal? Why I am invited to go to Senate? Because I organized some meetings with French senators, with Bishop Justin and other bishops, and some Serbian clerics to speak about the situation of the Serbian Orthodox Church in Kosovo. And he met some senators and so on. And he said, why is a French guy the only one who can actually not understand what I said, because the meeting was in Serbian. So the only guy I'm speaking, he cannot understand what I say. He's the one bringing me to French senators. Why? And why no one is helping him? And he's right. So the Serbian diaspora could do huge thing in France, in Australia, in Austria. When I speak to Serbs, they always. I never been in Vienna. I went in Austria 1 week to ski, and that's it. It's not really my cup of tea there. I'm French, so Germany, Austria. I'm always a bit careful with them. I never been to Austria, but Serbs always tell me, "Oh, Vienna is our city." It's your city. Fine, but then why Austria recognize Kosovo? Why I don't see protest against that? Why don't you? And some Serbs in Austria, I know them, do a really good job. I'm not here to criticize them. Some of them do a really good job. But once again, it's like me. They are not helped enough because it's not organized enough. I will not give name, but I met a Serbian girl in Paris long time ago. We don't speak to each other anymore. has a really, really good job and she has some really good connection. We had something together. And at one point we were speaking and she was speaking and she said, oh, last week I had a dinner. We were speaking about restaurants, nothing politics. She said, I went to that restaurant with some friends and Emmanuel was there. I said, what do you mean, Emmanuel? And she was, no, sorry. And she started to change topics. No. You told me Emmanuel Macron, the president. And she has a really good position in France. And she told me, yes, but I know you don't like him, blah, blah, blah. Let's change topic. I said, whoa, look, you have friendly dinner. It was not official dinner, friendly dinner with Macron. She told me, yes, he's a friend of a friend and so on. And that girl, she's agree with me on Serbia. When we speak about Serbia, she's agree. She's a Serbian patriot. On Kosovo, she's agree with me. She could help us, by some things, not, directly, but she could do things. But she doesn't. Why? Because there is nothing in front. Because the few diaspora movement, either it's like me, we are honest, we do good things, but not enough. We are not enough organized because we don't have the means, we don't have the supports we need. And the one who receives supports in Paris from the embassy, from the government, they don't do anything. They do their little show, they go to speak on camera, and that's it. I spoke with one of them, and he was surprised. He told me, I gave 2 interviews this week to Serbian TV. Like, okay, fine, it's good. But our goal, is it not to speak to French people? Because, speaking to Serbs about Kosovo, it's good. But, many people do it very well. Once again, you do it better than me. So I'm not the one. Okay, now I'm speaking to Serbs. You see what I mean? But my goal is to speak to French people. And I told him, why do you always speak to Serbian TV and not to French TV? That's what he told me, yeah, but it's hard. I said, yeah, but I am speaking, it took me time, but now I'm speaking sometimes to French TV. Why don't you do that as well? Why don't you go to French Senate to speak to senators, to French member of parliament? He told me, yeah, but it's a lot of work. Okay, fine. But, the goal is not to go on TV in Serbia, to be nice, to go on TV, to be the nice guy, to have that. Then you can share it on Instagram, you can share it on X and say to the girls, oh, look, I was on TV. No, that's nothing. The goal is to really work. We have people in Kosovo who are dying every day. We have people in Kosovo, they need our support. They are surviving. It's not a joke for them. It's not a joke. There is a sentence in one song, Serbian song, I really like, you don't defend Serbia in kafana. And the French diaspora, the leader of the French diaspora, they defend Serbia in kafana. Or they're ultra-nationalist in kafana, Serbian flags, Serbian eagles, yeah, tattoos and everything. But then when you see them, when Albania is coming to play in France, you don't see them. When there is French doing things bad for Serbs in Kosovo, you don't see them. They don't do protests. I organized some of the protests. I never saw them coming. And they explain, blah, 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 it's bad. One more example. I told you just before about genocide and so on. One case was we have a village in France is Oradour-sur-Glane. That village in 1944 was completely destroyed by the 2nd Waffen-SS Division, Das Reich, because they were going to Normandy. And it was on their way to Normandy, and some French partisans were trying to do guerrilla warfare to stop them and not to stop them completely, because, it was 20,000 soldiers, like with tanks and so on, but to make them not go in Normandy in 5 days, but in 2 weeks, to let the Brits, Americans and so on, to bring more soldiers. And they were doing that, and especially in Oradour-sur-Glane. And then the German came and said, okay, look, you fight with us, we will fight with you now. And they destroy the village. They put all the people in the village, from the village, in the church. They burn the church. Then you have no partisan because you killed everyone. So it was a big massacre. And in May Day, in May Day, in one village in Kosovo, it was a battle, not the same. It was a battle in 1999 between Kosovo UÇK terrorist group and Yugoslavian police. Yugoslavian police made a raid. They killed 20, it's not the village, 20 members of UÇK. 20, not the village. It's important. And they left. Of course, war crimes, blah, 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 blah. And then the Kosovo ambassadors in France tried to make a city link between Mayday and Oradour-sur-Glane. Why? To say Mayday was a genocide. Oh, look. In Oradour-sur-Glane, all the people were killed, all kids, women, that's a war crime. When you come, you kill the terrorist, it's not a war crime, it's what every country should do. And I spoke to some friends I have in politics told me about that and told me, be careful, the Kosovo embassy is trying to do something, and if they do something about Oradour-sur-Glane, they plan in the museum of Oradour-sur-Glane to add one thing about the war crimes Yugoslavian did in Mayday and to compare. So, Mayday will be the same as what's happening in Oradour-sur-Glane. It's an insult, So I spoke with some Serbian diaspora leaders in France and said, okay, we have to stop them, to stop that. No, we will do different. No reason. We will let the link happens, and then we will fight the link. I said, but it's in the law, it's not possible. It doesn't work like that. We have to stop the linkage between the two cities before. No, I know better. I know how it will work. So I said, no, you don't know anything. I will do it. So with my organization, I spoke to some former French resistance, former French war heroes. We wrote a letter explaining that what's happened in Mayday cannot be compared to what's happened in Oradour-sur-Glane. We sent a letter to the mayor. I spoke to him. I explained him, and he said, okay, fine. I'm not specialist of Kosovo. I see it's a bit dodgy, so I will not do the linkage. And just imagine if I listened to the Serbian diaspora leaders in France, the linkage will have happened. And then every kid going to Oradour-sur-Glane will have one more step about what the Serbs, because, it was Yugoslavian, but, what the Serbs did in Mayday. And then they will say, oh, wow, so Germans did that to us in France, and Serbs did the same in the poor Albanian people in Kosovo. So here it's one concrete example. The Serbian diaspora, when they could do something, didn't do that. And that is not normal. So we have a huge potential with the Serbian diaspora, but now the potential is zero because it's not organized by the state, not organized by the embassy, and the people they put on the key organization are working for themselves, for their ego, and nothing more, unfortunately.
Srbija se često, pričam sada trenutno, ponosi dobrim odnosima sa Francuskom. Koliko je ta politička nada u Francusku opravdana?
Well, to be honest, it's like always the usual question, usual comments, like, oh, there is a great friendship between France and Serbia. Yes and no. I think it's actually wrong. Unfortunately, I really like Serbia, but I think it's unfortunately wrong. It's true, France helped a bit, more than a bit, Serbia during First World War. But besides that, it's nothing very important. The bells of Notre Dame de Paris, the church, rung in 1389, to celebrate because we believed that Kosovo Polje battle was a victory for Serbs. Unfortunately, it was not. So we rang the bell of the church. But okay, it's few things. But in practice, the oldest heroes and oldest alliance France has is with Scotland against Brits, of course. And the second oldest is with Turkey, with Ottoman Empire. I'm sorry, I'm telling you historical facts. It's like that. I think we have many in commons, culturally speaking, how we see the world and so on. Serbs and French have many in commons, yes. But historically speaking, we are not so close. Unfortunately, France helped Serbia. Serbia helped France sometimes, but it's not as strong as we would like to say. And I think it's really used by both governments, French and Serbian, to kind of erase the past. I remember one interview the former Serbian ambassador gave to a French journalist, Buisson. He's a really good friend of Serbia. He was awarded by President Nikolic. He wrote an excellent book about Draža Mihailovic, about Belgrade and so on. And it was in the day of the commemoration of the bombing of Yugoslavia, Serbia. Of course, unfortunately, France was part of that bombing. And the ambassador didn't speak about that. She spoke only about how France was great, historically speaking, to Serbia. And I think that chapter is just a way to erase what France did bad in the past 20 years. Like, when I was banned from entering Kosovo, there is a kind of funny stuff. I can laugh about it. The 10 policemen who stopped me, their weapons, their gears were French. They had French weapons, Austrian as well, but also French weapons, and their jackets were the same as French police. And I checked. We send them gears. We send them, not all of them, but some heavy armor vehicles that are going every day in Kosovska Mitrovica to terrorize Serbian kids. Is that friendship? I don't think so. So, okay, fine. We had First World War. I'm very grateful for that. I'm into history. I think we have to remember and celebrate our heroes. Yes, but that was 1 century ago. Now let's speak about 20 years ago. Let's speak about nowadays. And nowadays there is no real friendship. So I'm not so sure of that.
Da li je onda naoružavanje Srbije u pravom smislu te reči i bratski čvrsti odnosi sa Rusijom neka ozbiljna politička alternativa?
Well, yes or no. When I defended my master thesis here in Serbia, I wrote about the influence, the Russian influence. It was 10 years ago. Well, 8 years ago. I wrote about the Russian influence in Serbia, Republika Srpska, Kosovo. And one of the questions asked by a teacher, I remember, was a quote from King Petar I, who said that the only chance of Serbia is actually to be with Russia. And, the panel of teachers was, some of the teachers were really liberals, Serbian teachers, and some were really, let's say, traditionalist, more on Russian side. And I looked at her and said, it's funny because I'm French, so I don't really care. I will turn my back on all the teachers, the liberal one and the, let's say, pro-Russian one. Because if I pick liberal side, I will have at least half the teacher with me. Russian side, I will have at least half the teacher with me. And I said, I think Serbia is great enough, strong enough when Serbia wants to be alone. To be alone doesn't mean you don't have friends. No, of course no. But look at Hungary. Hungary is alone in its fight in EU. Viktor Orban is alone. He's missing 19 billion from the EU because he doesn't want to take refugee, migrants, LGBT propaganda, and so on and so on. So Serbia can be alone in fighting for its interests. And I'm going to give you a secret, actually. Serbia is alone because when you fight for your interest, you are alone. You are always alone. Serbia must have friends with France, with Germany, with USA, with Russia, of course. But Serbia must be alone. Serbs must have hope. Serbs also are too much into history and they don't have hope enough. Because also, I think there is something deeply rooted in Serbian DNA, is that it's kind of good that Serbs are always alone. It's the rhetoric that, we are alone against the whole world. It's true, but it's also wrong. During the bombing of Yugoslavia, one French officer, and it happens that I know that guy because he was working under my dad in the same office, actually. So I met him a few times when he was still working. His name is Bunel. He was a captain. That guy betrayed his country because it's what he did. He was French officer. He gave intel to Serbian people. And he ruined his career. He ruined everything. I was in school with his kid. He was older than me, but my brother was in the same class as him every day. Because in French media, we're speaking about him every day, like the traitor, blah, blah, blah. His kid was insulted every day. And you know how it can be violent, in kids school. And he took all his risk because he liked Serbia, because he wanted to help Serbia. He's not celebrated in Serbia. I don't tell him to make him a huge hero, of course no. But he's not celebrated. And the few Serbian TV shows that spoke about him said that he gave information because he was drunk. That's really shameful, by the way, because he did that because he really wanted to help Serbia. So what I want to say is that Serbia have friends and Serbia must have friends. But Serbia must also realize that you have to fight alone. You have to make your country better. You have to work on your economy. You have to work on your army. And you cannot depend from Russia, from Serbia, from France, from China for that. You must be yourself. You must be stronger yourself. And of course, work with others, work with Russia, but you must be stronger yourself, be real Serbs and tackle your own issues.
Hvala, Pol. Prelazimo na teška pitanja. Vi ste odlična adresa za ovo pitanje, a to je da li su novi varvari Evrope zapravo njena budućnost?
Yes. I wrote a text actually about that. You are referring to that. And I will give you the back door of the text. You know, at that time I was living in London, and I was going sometimes to the Serbian Orthodox Church in London. The church in itself, the building is very ugly, but when you enter the church, it's beautiful. It's very beautiful. You know, you have all the candles. And I remember the first time I entered the church, it was after school, after university. And I entered, you know, it was dark, it was cold, and I saw the candles. I just entered, I saw the candles, and the girls were singing. Sorry, it was a repetition. And, you know, it's so powerful. And I was there going sometimes for celebration. I had not good friends, but people I knew. And I was going there. I remember then it was when I was working in London. And I entered the church. I see everyone kissing the icons, the same icons. You know, I see people drinking the wine, you know, from the same thing. And I like that because, you know, for me, COVID was, I won't speak about COVID, but it was complete bullshit. So it was interesting. And I was to the church, and when I left, I saw the Serbs outside of the church drinking rakia, speaking, and so on. And I was happy because I saw some people just like what normal people should do, but what we don't do much in the West anymore. People just sharing together a glass of rakia, a glass of wine, and just speaking. How are you? How is job? How is business? Oh, it's good. You know, it's what we're supposed to do. We go to church on the week to pray, of course, but to speak to each other because we are a community. And then when I looked at that, I was like, my first thinking, and of course, Serbs told me, oh, Paul, come with us, you know, drink and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, whoa, you know, that guys are savage, but on the good sense. And why I say it's savage? Because when I studied in London and other universities, Western universities, of course, Serbs were always portrayed as savage and on the bad way, you know, savage, like the guy with the knife in his mouth and, you know, all the genocide and so on. And I was like, yeah, that's the, let's say, the good savage, because actually we portray them as savage, but look, they welcome me. I'm not Orthodox. They let me come to their church. Don't speak their language, so they speak English with me. They give me their rakia. I'm not even Serbian, and they welcome me. Is that being savage? If that is being savage, please, I want to be savage with you, because it's just what human people should do. It's just what we don't do. Unfortunately, in big cities in the West, we are not friendly to each other anymore. And it's what Serbs are. You know, Serbs are really friendly, really warm, really welcoming. And my first thought was like, whoa, that's the people we portrayed as savage. But it's not. And if that is being savage, oh, come on, I want to be savage with you. I want to be labeled as savage. And then, you know, I started to think about why do we portray the Serbs as being savage? Why? Because they protect their people. They protect their tradition. They protect their way of life. Their way of life. You know, yeah, sometimes I see some Serbian tradition, I'm laughing because we don't have the same, because I'm French. But then when I go back to my village in France, you know, when I go hunting with my neighbors and he tells me, oh, that's one of our hunting tradition, I'm like, whoa, that's a bit stupid. But anyway, it's a French tradition, so I'm happy to do that. So, you know, we all have our tradition and I want to protect them. I want to protect my French tradition as a French. And when I see Serbs, we want to protect their tradition as a Serbs. It's good. But now it makes you being a savage. And what I wanted to say to the Serbs, don't be afraid of being called savage. And on contrary, take it as a label, take it as a medal, take it as a reward. Yes, I'm a savage. Thank you very much. I'm happy to be a savage. For you, it's an insult. For me, it's a compliment. You know, sometimes I always joke, you know, when I speak about history and so on, I studied and I lived a lot abroad, and people sometimes were telling me, oh, you are really French. And I saw some French saying, oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'm like, no, yes, thank you. I take it as a compliment. Yes, I am very French. I do my best to be the most French I can. And I take it as a compliment. And it's what I want to say. When people say, oh, Serbs, you are savage. Yes, thank you very much. It's a compliment to me, because savage means to be warm with my neighbors, to be warm with to be welcoming with people coming to Serbia, to be protecting my people, to take care of the people around me, to protect my religion, to protect my heritage, to protect my cultures. And because tomorrow I want my kids to be Serbian. But what it means to be Serbian? Being Serbian doesn't mean I support Djokovic and Jokic. Nikola Jokic. No, that's not being Serbian. I'm sorry. That's not being Serbian. I don't know them. I'm not into sport. I have nothing against them. But that's not being Serbian. Being Serbian is speaking your language, going to church sometimes, kiss the icon, go to Kosovo, go to on the grave of Miloš the Great, on the grave of Knez Lazar. That's being Serbian. Being Serbian is to drink rakia with your granddad, to hear about Serbian history, to do banjak, cut the tree. That's being Serbian.
Prelazimo na poslednje Rubikon pitanje. Ako možemo u nekoliko rečenica da sumiramo čitav ovaj razgovor, da li se javlja neko novo mesto za srpsku istinu u svetu?
In the West and in general, we don't like people losing. We don't like losers. We like winner. And Serbia must, and it's all I told you before, Serbia must be pride of themselves. They must be a pride nation. And it's how you will get more people to speak to you, get more people to agree with you, to come to Serbia, to invest economically speaking, to make some good things with Serbia, to make some good connections with Serbia. It's in being pride. You don't want, if you see a guy which was always complaining about life. Oh, life is bad. I'm crying. Do you want him to be your friend? Of course not, because he has bad energy. It's the same between countries. A country must be pride. A country must be strong. A country must have assurance. He must be sure of himself. And it's what Serbia must do. So you can call it Serbian truth. And in that way, I answer your question. I call that more rhetoric. And Serbia must be sure about his rhetoric, about his history, and they must have one, make sure of it, they must protect it and fight for it.
Pol, hvala ti na izlaganju i nadamo se da je ovo samo jedan od prvih intervjua.
Thank you for your invitation.
Hvala što ste pratili još jednu našu emisiju. Zapratite kanal emisije Rubikon, delite naše sadržaje na društvenim mrežama i ono što je jako bitno, komentarišite. Kao što vidite, trudimo se da sa najboljim gostima potpunimo našu istinu. Da svi zajedno učinimo sve što možemo da kockice istorije padnu na nama povoljnu stranu.